Hey there. Welcome to episode 29, Identifying the Emotions to Move You Forward. Okay, so if you were here last week, do y'all know that I said the wrong episode number like 100 times, forgetting that it could be edited out? And so we wrote up the email and the show notes to correlate with me saying the wrong episode number. And turns out that didn't even matter. So I think we're episode 29. Either way, we are going to talk about identifying the emotions that you need to move you forward. If you are watching this on YouTube, then I just want you to know it is a Friday morning at 10:50 and I am recording this podcast all hyped up and ready for our first volleyball games of the season. Go Cavaliers. Um, I actually never post the name of my kid's school on Instagram, especially when we moved and as my audience got larger, because safety. But now I'm like, maybe I should, because guess what you get? If you come find us, you get 5 kids, 4 dogs, everybody goes. Just kidding. I don't mean that at all, children. I don't mean that at all. Y'all are my rite of passage and badge of honor. If you listened to last week's episode, you know what that means. Okay. So a few things. I'm going to pull up my notes. Oh, yes. So we're getting ready for volleyball. Y'all, I love volleyball. Now, I'm not an athlete. I didn't grow up playing any sports. But I love watching my kids play volleyball. And now my third daughter's playing volleyball this year. And so, ladies, I want to see some aces. And here's the deal. I like good volleyball. Like, let's not drive an hour to just like sit there and just not play well. Okay. Let's do this. I actually, you can't see, but I have a sty in my eye. And I actually was like I'm like, well, is it pink eye or is it a sty? Because the pink eye is going around. We know a lot of people who've had it. As a matter of fact, on the first day of school, my youngest, whom we call Bray J, came to me and he was like, Mom, did you hear about name of child? And I was like, no, buddy, what's wrong with her? And he said, she has stink eye. And I was like, oh my gosh, could you be any cuter? He is hysterical and he doesn't know how funny he is because he's so literal. So I'm like, well, I wonder if he knows that like when we laugh, like that's a good thing. Like you're funny. But I don't know that he knows that it's really a cool thing when you're funny. And so I just always think to myself, oh my gosh, like if I'm going to get all teary, but if his birth mom had like gone through with that abortion, the laughs that we would have missed out on in our lives and in the lives who know him. I mean, even just week, he said to Bray, so Bray was making him, he loves like eggs and grits and cheese. It's like a thing. And so Bray was making him grits and eggs for breakfast, but his sister, Claren, had already like made him a smoothie with protein powder, collagen peptides, all the things. And he was drinking that. And Bray was like, oh, well, buddy, I guess you don't really need grits and eggs. You're having a smoothie. And he was like, no, I still want grits and eggs. And Bray was like, I don't remember okay, I'm already butchering. It's not even funny anymore. But anyway, but he was like, well, buddy, that's like your breakfast. That's, like a smoothie is like a meal. And he was like, what? This is a meal? I thought this was a drink. So we just like constantly exchange these hysterical things that he has. Oh, but what he was talking about with his friend obviously wasn't, she didn't have stink eye. She had pink eye. He was like, she has stink eye. I'm like, well, you'll learn about the girls who have the stink eye later. But this is actually just second grade pink eye and 44-year-old pink eye. I think it's a sty. So it looks a lot better than it does right now. I did put mascara on, which I'll probably regret. But anyway, and then these are just the things this one week, y'all. Laughs that we need because we are about run ragged with soccer and volleyball. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway, so then we're sitting at dinner last night and which we were able to have together, which is like 2 or 3 times a week. And with our schedule, that is actually a blessing. So Bray was reading a passage from the Bible and kind of walking around or going around the circle and asking people to share something. And by people, I just mean like the 5 kids I'm talking about. And so Bray J kind of goes into this long thing, and Bray, my husband, goes, buddy, what? And like, what? Because it was just kind of, he didn't understand. He kind of wanted him to say it again. And and try to get it out a little bit better. And so Bray J, not realizing that we just didn't really understand what he was saying, he goes, "What? Can nobody hear me?" We're like, "No, we can hear you." And then also just this morning, I was driving them to school and there was like 2 miles of the strongest skunk smell situation that I've had maybe in all of my life. And so, after finally a few minutes, he goes, "Wait." This is probably not funny to y'all. This is hysterical to me. He goes, "Wait, did did the skunk toot on our car?" And I'm like, "I just love you so much." Okay, so that is enough of that life stuff that people are like, "Hey, I don't even really know you, and I really don't care about your kids or volleyball or skunks tooting on your car." Hi, I'm Amberly Devers. I am the host of this podcast, the Christian Life Coach and Business Podcast, as well as creator of the Christian Life Coach Academy. So, what is the Christian Life Coach Academy, you may be asking? So, the Christian Life Coach Academy is actually a 12-month business coaching program for Christian life coaches. And if you go back many episodes, I talk all about why, but I am just passionate about more Christian life coaches going out into the world and impacting lives. And when you impact lives through Christian life coaching, you also like build a business and create income that reaches the financial needs and even dreams, if you're a big dreamer like me financially, for your family. And the Lord just equipped me and called me and allowed me the blessing and the privilege through the ways that he's uniquely gifted and equipped me to create 2 separate offers as a Christian life coach within an 18-month period of time, um, and make over multiple 6 figures doing so. And so I've created 2 separate 6-figure offers as a Christian life coach. And I love empowering and equipping others in the ways that I did that, that I had to kind of discover on my own. And I believe in that process and method wholeheartedly because you can do so in a way that doesn't require you sacrificing your number 1 priorities as it relates to biblical womanhood in your home, in your church, in ministry, in life first. So that is what I do. I'm so glad you're here. The Academy is actually open for enrollment right now. When you listen to this podcast, enrollment is actually closing tomorrow. So if you did not hear this in time to join us, there is going to be a wait list linked in the show notes. So hop on that. You'll be the first to know of when the Academy will open again, as well as any workshops or masterminds or things like that that I'm hosting. So be sure to do that. And if you have been waiting around thinking, "Oh, should I do this now? Should I not?" Yes, you should do this now because 3 months from now, when the Academy may open again, you will already be 3 months further along than you are now. And I promise you that where you are now and where you'll be 3 months from now are going to be so totally different that 3 months from now, you're going to be able to say, "Oh my gosh, I remember when I wanted to be where I am now." Most recently, Taylor reached out to me on Instagram, just like you, and she has a social selling business, and she really wanted to work with social sellers to help them get started in their business so that they can make income for their family in the way that she's been able to do. And so she just she didn't think she knew where to start. However, after joining the Academy within 3 days, she had not only created her offer of how many number of clients she would need to work with to reach her financial goal, she already had it outlined. And so I help you do that. The Christian Life Coach Academy, like I said, is a 12-month business coaching program, which means that you have a solid year to create and start and figure out and implement and test the things in your coaching business as I walk you through it, as I coach you through it, as I teach and instruct you through it. Because within 10 months, I had already created a 6-figure income. And so I just really mapped that out and outlined that for you so that you can reach those financial dreams and desires that you have for your family, whether it's 6 figures or whether it's 10,000 for an entire year, 10,000 a month or 10,000 for a year. Everything that you need in the academy is there for you to help you do so. So, I most recently announced several very exciting things in the academy by the way of calls that I'm going to be adding to and differentiating in our weekly live coaching sessions, which is where you come, you raise your hand, you actually get coached one on one by yours truly on anything you need coaching on. And if you don't need coaching on something that week, as you listen to others being coached, you will be like, oh my gosh, that just like totally changed my business. That changed my thoughts. That actually just coached me. So it happens every week and it's so fun. But I'm going to be adding what I'm calling a coach equipping call so that you can come to that call and learn a new skill, a skill that you may not know, a strategy that you may not know that I actually use in coaching. Although the Christian Life Coach Academy is not a coach certification program, I do offer tips and ideas and things for you to use with your clients or when you have a difficult situation come up that you're not sure quite how to handle, or just how to be a better coach, how to be equipped to be a better coach. Because the better you are at coaching, the better results that your clients will have, and the better business you will actually build, which is what you want. I know. So we'll have whoa, almost knocked my entire mic down. This is already like such a setup, a situation. I just need to tell you that, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose my train of thought, but I have been using a different platform to record my podcasts so that I can also use them on YouTube. Well, in doing so, I haven't been able to use this mic or this like filtering, this voice filtering thing that does improve the sound quality. So I do apologize for that. I hope when we move into the new office, I'll be getting a different mic. I'll be able to use something different, but I want to be able to cross post this content. So this is just what it is. But I did figure out how to at least use this mic to record the podcast rather than my coaching mic, and it sounds a lot better. So I hope you can tell. I'm sorry for the last however long it's been since it hasn't been as great as it was. And for the patience of my producers who deal with me on a daily basis, weekly. Anyway, so I am like 90 to nothing right now in getting our what do you call it, cooler packed, our bags packed. Our tournament is going to be about an hour and 15 minutes away. We were going to spend the night, and then I was like, oh no, let's just sleep in our own beds and all the things. Oh, so which gets me to my next point. Okay, wait, let me finish up with the calls that we're going to be having. So we'll have a coach equipping call. The better coach you are, the better results your clients will have, and the better business you will build. We are going to have an offer call within the academy regularly scheduled coaching calls so that as your offer is being created or refined, or you simply just need to be coached on belief and falling in love more and more with your offer, because the degree to which you believe in your offer and love your offer is actually the degree to which you're going to be successful at signing clients for that offer. They go hand in hand. And so that is one thing that I teach on and coach on. And I would just want to have a dedicated call for this each month in our coaching calls. So that is that. And then I'm also going to be adding 3 different calls now. One is going to be a make your money back call. So that if you have not yet made your investment back in the academy, this is going to be a call just for you. Additionally, for those of you who have not yet made $25,000, and there are so many people that are so close, I am going to be doing a call with you so we can talk, upper level strategy for you reaching that goal. Because here's the deal. Once you know how to make $25,000 as a coach with your offer, you will simply repeat that 4 times, and then you will have a 6-figure business. Additionally, for those of you who have already surpassed the $25,000 mark, you are going to have a call just for you that will be the 100K call, where we will talk about, now that you've made that $25,000, what is it going to look like to get you to the $100,000 mark in that offer? So super, super excited about that. All of that to say, I am recording this podcast right now rather than sitting in my bed, cozy, drinking coffee, just thinking about all the things I feel unmotivated and unenergized and uninspired to do. Yes, here I am, multiple 6 figures later as a successful Christian life and business coach. And I also want to stay in my pajamas sometimes and hide under the covers from my business, just like you. And so I thought, well, what better way to tell you exactly how I snapped out of it, as I have kind of been doing over the last couple weeks, so you can too. And here's how this went down. Recently, I coached myself on a very significant decision that I was going to be making. And I will share that with you at some point in time as it relates to my business. And I have been certified through the life coach school since, or I started in September of 2020 when I was introduced to the model, which is just a way of simply like organizing your thoughts so that you can decide your emotions, so that you can take necessary action that you want to take from the emotions that are necessary to create those actions. And it really just transformed my life. That's why I do what I do. And so we call those things models. And I self-coach every day, but when it comes to making like significant decisions, I'm a quick action taker and I'll just kind of make a decision. And for this decision that I was making, and it's actually a decision that I have made before, the exact same one, by the way, and this time I thought, oh, I actually want to make this decision with more intention, and be really, really deliberate in this decision-making process. And it has completely changed my life. It's going to change my business. It's going to change the way that I structure the academy, I structure my offer, and from everywhere between people I hire to the way that I scale everything, just that process. I literally, and for those of you who are in the academy, you know what this means, but I literally created almost, I think, 80 default models that were coming up in my brain with this decision. And what's so interesting, and those of you who do this as coaches know that when you use this strategy for your brain, you realize that what's coming up in one circumstance is typically just like what comes up for in your brain and has for a very, very long time. That's why we call it our default thinking, our default model as I teach. And so I just let it go. I just gave myself time. I had about 5 days to really make the decision. And I gave myself the time to do so. And three new areas of growth, as I call them, when I kind of see a trend happening in my brain, that I am now becoming so much more, what's the word I'm looking for? That is now going to become so much more clear to me that I never knew was there, although I knew it was there. I know that doesn't make a ton of sense, but these three things that were coming up for me that, and these may be the three that come up for you, or through using this process, you may find a few different ones that come up for you. But here's the deal. The emotions that you're feeling are going to dictate the actions that you take or don't take. So when I was cozy in my bed thinking, oh my goodness, there's a lot to do before we go to this tournament, and I guess I'm just going to sit here and not do them, both in life and in business, and then pick my kids up at 1 and just the way it happens, the way it happens. And so I was just kind of looking at how am I feeling? Now, the top emotion coming up for me was exhausted. Now, granted, I'm a mom of 5, 3 are playing volleyball, 2 are playing soccer, and there is practice between the 5 of them for someone every single day of the week, and we get home about 7:30. And so, Bray and I are tag teaming. One of us is home cooking dinner, one of us is getting kids, and I'm so, so grateful to have a husband and a spouse and a partner to do this with. Like, I am like, oh my gosh. I mean, if he wants to go out of town, it's a little bit easier just from a um, organizational managerial perspective. Are those words? Did I make those up again? Because that's just how my brain works. Like, he's going to get it done, but it's going to definitely be a completely different way than I would. So, but for me to go out of town, it feels like, oh my gosh, babe, I cannot leave you with all this driving going on and coordinating it all and just making sure people get fed in the process. So that actually, is probably some legitimate exhaustion. Like, I'm not going to deny or resist that. I'm just going to acknowledge and just allow myself the emotion of exhaustion because it is a real one that's there currently. But then as I kind of listed it out, I went from exhausted to like uninspired to unmotivated to tired to disjointed. I'm like, what does disjointed mean? And for me, it's just kind of like confused. I have all of these things and processes and systems that I really want to get streamlined. And we have so many streamlined. Like I really do have so much streamlined. So I don't want to like not celebrate that. I just know where I'm going and where I'm headed, and I want to have it done now. And my sweet, sweet assistant, Rayleigh, I'm like, look, I'm like, do you, and we have so many things that are already just like, these are what we do every week. But then I'm like, oh, let's do this. Oh, can you do that? Are you available? Are you this? Are you that? And I'm like, do you want us to start really putting some of these things like in Monday.com or Asana or heck, just like Trello for now so we can see them? And she was like, don't worry, I know what we're doing. And I'm like, and she was like, this totally works fine for me. I'm like, are you sure? And I'm like, brain explosion emoji. I'm like, you're sure that like and like, it is just so comforting to have someone who just like, I think I'm going to like tear up, who can just like roll with my brain. And as managed as I keep my brain, it still has a lot of rolling that happens, and it's just such a gift, and I'm so grateful for her. And, and so she was like, so like, I'll just like text her some like long drawn out thing, or we also use something called Slack to communicate unless I'm like, anyway. And so she'll be like, I'm on it. And like, she'll be on it and she'll figure it out. And it's such a gift to me. So it allows me to do this because I've got somebody handling that in the background. So super, super grateful. But anyway, but what I realized was I'm just kind of like confused in some ways of things of some direction that I want to take and create and streamline. But I know it'll happen. I know we'll get there. And it's probably not even necessary right now. So, because so many things are already running and operating so well. So that's that. And then so that also led to me feeling like unclear and then overwhelmed. And then like, oh, I'm overwhelmed. Well, being overwhelmed makes me feel sad. And so then I was like, oh, I'm not sad. I'm just lazy. I'm lazy and indecisive. And when that clicked in, I was like, oh my goodness. I want y'all to listen up to this one because this is not unique to my brain. That's for those of you who are like, not even taking action and joining the academy, or you're afraid, or you're not ready to get this business going that you're so passionate about and have all these dreams and ideas that you want to implement and you're stuck. That is simply indecision. And it's so, so crazy. Like, I just want you to know you can struggle with indecision and, tell yourself this story that it's just not meant to be and you're not called to this, because I am doing this and I still struggle at times with indecision. I didn't even really, really realize it because I am making so many decisions that have led to so much success. But I can see when there's just like a sliver, a hint of indecision, it is going to hold you back in even just a slightest way. And I'm like, oh, I'm tired of that. Let's figure out what this is and let's do something about it. And so through that decision, I was telling you that I was doing like almost 80 default models on to get to the thought beneath the thought, the emotion beneath the emotion. So I could be very, very aware of what's happening in my brain. I realized that when I just listed all of those emotions with you, and then I got to indecisive, because moving your business forward and just doing things in your business is just because you decide to. All right. And I was like, okay, all of that, when that stuff that I just revealed is going on, I am indecisive. And that's what I was recognizing in this indecision for me, the emotions that has been bringing up for quite some time, which here's the deal. You can have these type of emotions that can really, really hold you back in certain ways while you still get where you're supposed to be, right? However, so like I've had some of this going on: indecision, disbelief, uncommitted, unconstrained, going on, and I've still gotten to where I am. But here's the deal: what got me here isn't going to be what gets me there. And I am so committed to getting there that I'm like, okay, fine, I'll stop listening to the indecision. Because what happens is when I'm indecisive and when you're indecisive, what we do is we go against our own decisions over and over and over. That's what keeps you in that start and stop and start and quit cycle. And, where you have all these great ideas and you just spend some time and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. And then you get stuck again. And so you stop. So anyway, and so for me, I know that indecision, when I'm feeling indecisive, It comes from feeling disbelief, uncommitted, and unconstrained, right? I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me like just go and like explore all these different ideas and all these different decisions, which, are also helpful and when you're creating, but not when it's being used, not when you're using it against yourself. And that's what I have been doing in many ways. So I'm just trying to get very, very, very clean on that, because when you then move into deliberate models, a concept I teach in the academy, then you create feelings of decisiveness, of commitment, of constraint, and of belief. So for me, or yours may be different, but for me, those are the emotions that I need to feel, because those emotions come from thoughts that I think that create belief, constraint, commitment, and decision. And when I am in decision, okay, like in making decisions, right? Not indecision, but like in decision, then I am taking action. So I was like, oh, okay, that's what's happening here. I'm not lazy. I might actually be exhausted. I'm not uninspired. I'm not unmotivated. And I'm not confused. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not unclear. I'm not lazy. I'm not sad. I am simply in indecision. And so I know now, after I've been working, I didn't just now say I've been working. I just switched gears in what I was about to say, and it sounded like that. But I just know now, okay, this is what it's coming up for me, and I know what to do about that. And so I move into, okay, what would I be doing right now if I felt decisive, if I felt like in belief, if I felt committed, and if I felt constrained? And here's what came up. I like literally just wrote up everything I kind of need to be working on really for just like the next quarter. And that led to getting dressed, doing my hair, putting on some makeup, getting ready to leave, plugging in this mic, figuring that out, and recording this podcast. So I just want you to know that you will need to do the necessary work to identify what are those emotions that you need to be in and feeling, and the thoughts that you need to be thinking to make decisive action toward the goals that you want to reach in your life coaching business. All right. That is it for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you have discovered those emotions, or if you're like, oh my gosh, I love this so much, I want to know more about how to do this. First of all, reach out to me on Instagram or send me an email, info@amberlydevers.com, and let me know what were the emotions that you just identified have been holding you back, so that you can be very, very equipped and very, very aware of when it's happening, so that you can do something about it and create more action in less time, rather than sitting there in the start and quit cycle and not creating the business of your dreams. It's been so great being here. Hope you have a great week. Bye.